Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for hooking up with us on Monday Morning Matters. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. Please do us a share, do us a like, drop us a comment, let us know how the sound and the visuals are, and let us get into this month. This month is the beginning of the last quarter of the year, and that's October, November, December. Last quarter of the year is quite a year that the graph actually gets to become like this, okay? Where people are trying to go for summer, people are trying to go for Christmas. So the graph is always like this. At least I've managed a church. I'll be able to look at some attendance, and you have to do something deliberate about how your attendance will look like. Okay, we've done quite a lot of episodes on Monday on our YouTube channel, especially. Please feel free to go there and get some of those nuggets. The first one has to do with 8 tips to grow a local church to a mega church. 8 tips to grow a local church to a mega church, and then we also have tips to assimilating guests to your church today. Tips to assimilating guests to your church today. And then we want to go on the next one, which is how to read and study the Bible. And then we go on and on. There are so many on the YouTube channel. Please feel free to hook up and get some of those goodies in the YouTube channel. All right, communicating new vision and things like that. So please, one of the things I want to do today is to really talk about my book on church retention. Church retention. Is the sound okay? Hello? 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 Okay, the sound is okay. Now, I want to just talk about my book, church retention pathway to growth. Church retention pathway to growth. And so the book release will be on October 8th, 2021, this Friday. It happens to be my birthday. And so please, that's the first book I'll ever publish. So please feel free to grab those copies. It's going to be released. It's on Amazon. It's on Seller. I've got a Paystack link in the show notes. Please feel free to take advantage of those. That's a front cover, and then that's also the back cover. Please feel free to get in touch with me to have those books addressed to you. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the book. One of the things that I want to also talk about is how to learn. I've seen a lot of churches, pastors who want to grow their church, okay, in terms of quantity and quality. They want to grow their church, and they have never had the concept of church retention. They've never had some trainings or some improvement in terms of knowledge capacity for church retention. And the thing is that if your church needs to grow, your church needs to emphasize on retention. Okay. One of the things, most dangerous thing a church can do is to look healthy but you are unhealthy. Okay. In the COVID-19, we can see that those who are more dangerous are the asymptomatic symptomatic patients who they have the COVID virus, but they don't show the symptoms that they have been infected with the virus. And that's how you feel you're well. So you can imagine you having a church that is asymptomatic, okay? They are unhealthy, but they show the futures physically, visibly, that they are healthy. You see, one of the things that we also need to learn from the physical nature is that you can have somebody who is fat, obese, but the person is unhealthy. You can have somebody who is slim and the person is still unhealthy. So one of the things that can actually help a church is for her to have proper diagnosis, proper assessment, proper trainings, and also proper strategy planning, so that you can move from where your reality today, from where you are today to where you should be in God. All right, so please grab your copy to make sure that you get your copies from Amazon, from Seller, and from Paystack, and that will get those things. So please don't be deceived that you look healthy as a church, things are working well, the attendance is growing. The fact that the attendance is growing numerical does not mean it's growing transformationally. Okay, just find a way to see how, and the fact that your numbers is growing does not mean you are doing well in all the areas that the church should function in. All right, the church will function in. One of the things that we also want to look at is on the screen. All these areas must be balanced, must be active, and must be intentional. They must be aligned together. They must work together to make sure that at least your church is healthy. One of the things I will tell you is that the things that you neglect, the things that you do not pay attention to, can actually bring down the strength of your church or bring down the church down to an unhealthy state. Because what happens to the health of the church is just one area that is very important that is neglected. And so what I would tell you is for free is that the strength of the church is allegedly strong because the church itself has put a lot of attention and emphasis on developing that strength. So let's talk a little bit about my book, and I'm going to wrap up in another 5 minutes. Okay, we want to learn and unlearn and relearn the what, the how, the do's and the don'ts of growing a local church continuously, irrespective of church size. So if your size is small, mid-sized church, large-sized church, how can you grow that church to become full expression of what God wants that church to be? And that's just one of the keys of that book on how to increase your retention. I can tell you that if your church is having a negative retention and does not do anything about it, it's just a matter of time. As the people leak throughout the back door, a day will come that they will just close the doors of the church. And the pandemic has actually heightened or worsened the number of churches who are closing their church. I know some churches who have not met during the pandemic because they don't have the technology to be able to live stream their services to their members and to their community. So we're going to look in that book. You're going to look at the retention retention concept, how does it affect your church health? How does it affect your church growth? We're going to also look at the 21st century attraction model to retention strategies. We want to look at the barriers of attraction. What are the barriers? At what level do you have those barriers? At what level can you look at those barriers and then begin to overcome those barriers and begin to see how your church is growing? Those barriers, if you don't do anything about it, they'll keep rising their stakes high and making sure that your church does not go to full potentials. So effective marketing, how do you market? How do you brand? How do you get feedbacks from guests to be able to improve your church? Okay, what you are looking for in a church is different from what a guest is looking for in a church. What is your caregiving network like? Your discipleship, your evangelism, your assimilation. That's what I call cedar processes. Those are the growth engines of the church. If those engines are not working at their peak, they are not effective, they are not efficient, those processes will be able to impede you having a high retention and then also having growth in no time. So retaining refining your target audience at relates to retention, because you cannot retain what you cannot process. You cannot retain what you cannot process. So how do you fine tune your target audience, your member avatar, so that when you get your member avatar through your front door, you have all the cedar processes, you have all the assimilation processes to process them and get them plugged in, get them established, get them committed to the Great Commission of your church. Okay? And then we're going to also look at dealing with high turnover. What's the impact of high turnover of guests? Okay? I mean, you are having 100 guests coming every month and you have 200 people leaving the back door. What is the impact in your church? Outside the fact that there is decline in attendance, what is the impact to your church that you are having more people coming into your front door and much more people leaving the back door? Because what happens is that you are losing members, but there's an impact it has on your church momentum towards growth. And then what are deal breakers? How do you, what is the ideal guest volume? You see, in that book, you're going to see that it's not the amount of volume of guests you have to be able to grow your church. There is just an optimal guest volume you need to be able to double your church. And when you get to that book, you're going to see that. Also, we're going to talk about deal breakers. Deal breakers are something we need to, as leaders, open all our 5 senses, our 6 senses, to be able to make sure that we detect them and we overcome them. What are deal breakers? Deal breakers is any factor or issue that is strong enough to terminate a negotiation. Okay, as guests and converts are coming to your church, they are trying to make up their mind to be part of your church. And so we need to overcome some deal breakers so that I can have more people joining your church in no time. So how do you harness the front door, the side door, the revolving doors, and the back doors? You see, one out of those 4 doors, one of the doors that I know that every pastor is to bring people into the church. Okay? But what grows the church is more than just bringing people into the church. We have to look at the side door. We have to look at the revolving door. We have to look at the back door. In fact, one of the things I want to say is the more attention you put on the front door, you should put much more attention times 3 or 5 on the back door. In that book also, we're going to look at the mathematics and the data essentials for managing growth. Because God will not give you what you cannot manage. God will not give you what you don't have capacity for. So until you have the capacity to manage a kind of level of church growth, God will not bring you that growth. And see, how you manage a church of 100 is different from how of 10s is different from how you manage a church of 100. How you manage a church of 10s, okay, 20, 25 is different from how you manage a church of 120, 150. And it's also different of how you manage a church of thousands. Okay, so you are going to also learn the mathematics and the data essentials of managing the church growth God has bring, the multiplication effect that God has brought your church. The effect of low retention also. What is the effect of low retention on your church? How can you make a change in your retention so that your church is growing from that local church is ours to become a mega church? We also look at how do you get people to be involved in terms of engagement, relationship, bonding, commitment, to make sure that the church has some sticky nature, sticky factor, to get the church to be able to grow. You see, the magnitude of the magnet is what determines the kind of metals. Okay, if it's very big, you can actually get a lot of people around the metal. The smaller it is, so it's just a matter for you to work on your retention. How your turnover rate can affect your income, and your church momentum in the community. We're going to look in subsequent Mondays. We're going to look at some of these things in no time to educate us nowhere. So please feel free, grab your copy. My mentor, someone I respect so much, Tom Rainer, was able to forward the book. I was humbled by what he wrote about the book, about myself. And so please, Tom forwarded the book. As time goes on, we're going to look at some of those things that we are going to unveil in the book in the month of October. So please feel free to grab your copy on Amazon. It's on Seller. It's on Paystack. Go on the show notes. You're going to see some of those show notes and then take advantage of those show notes. Tom Rainer did the forwarding. Sam Rainer did some comments for me on the book. I got some endorsements from Reverend Abraham Akinola, and then also from Gary McIntosh. Dr. Gary is a church growth expert, a church consultant from Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. Please grab your copy. And Reverend Tade, also from the UK, gave me some endorsements. So please feel free to grab your copy, and that will ensure that you have your church turn around from what it is today to what it is. I want to wrap it up, but from next Monday, we're going to go into those juice of what the book is all about. But please feel free to pre-order your book. Pre-order your book. About 25 people have already pre-ordered the book. Please pre-order the book. This is the last week to the day of the pre-ordering of the publishing date, so that you can be able to get a copy. Please feel free to like our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please hit up the notification bell so that when you get a new video uploaded, you'll be notified. Go on the Instagram to follow us. And please, you want to have consultations. We do consultations for churches. We help churches to be revitalized, trainings, and then also strategy blueprints. Call us. We're going to get across to you. You have any questions as regards church growth, church retention, church health, church administration, please feel free to hook up with us, and I will be able to attend to your question. Till I come your way next week, Monday, God bless you. I'm taking a little bit more time, but please permit me, because I love my book and I want to sell it to you. Please feel free to share this to a network. Thank you. Drop a comment. I want to read from you. I want to learn from you. I respond to all my comments, and I'm going to surely see you next week, Monday, for a deeper dive into the book. God bless you, and I love what you're doing.